good life. What is it? What's a good life to you? Happiness. How does happiness show itself as the good life? Joy. So can you give me an example of how joy shows up as the good life for you?
Everyone surrounding me being excited and joyful.
Like this last experience here? Very good. What is the good life to you? Yes, Rev.
Family and friends thriving.
Thriving. What a key word. Family and friends thriving, because we're talking today, the theme this month is all about vitality. And so thriving and vitality are hand in hand. What is living the good life to you? Because often we forget. We get so hung up in the everyday stuff of life that we forget that we are having a good life in between some of the issues here. True or true? What's good? Waking up in the morning is good. There are lots of people that, for whatever reason, are not waking up. They're making the transition. They're going on. What's a good life? Living in the present. Okay, yes, David. For me, it's been something that I have had to learn and run into the wall a million times about, and still do, is the minute, and you tell me if I'm the only one here, the minute I start thinking about what I should have done, and if I'd only done that, anybody ever? And the minute that I start worrying about, well, next week, this day is coming up, and I got this thing I got to do, and if it doesn't go right, oh my God. Anybody ever do that? Yeah. So what do we know then? The good life, just like he said, the good life is about living in the present moment. Every single thing we study, Eckhart Tolle, everybody talks about this. The present moment. And yet our brains are hardwired to be all over the place. They're firing neurons all over the place. Oh, and that happened back then, and this might happen over there, and what happens if something happens over here, and what about that guy over there? And guilty. And that's another issue. So the thing about the good life is something that can only happen with consciousness. Say it. Consciousness. Think about the words. Consciousness. Because we're all conscious. We're conscious of something. We usually have a fog of worry and hurry and doubt and pain and I'm not sure and the what ifs and the couldas and the shouldas, and we should it all over ourselves. We have that all going on. And yet, if we stop right now, let me just ask you all right now, in this moment, look how cute. Oh my God. In this moment, is everything okay right now? Are you breathing?
Yes.
Nobody's bleeding in or anything. Nobody's passing out. Nobody's running out the door afraid for their lives. We're okay. Right now. And what I've learned for myself is every single time I go into, because I'm a big time visionary, which I think everybody's a visionary. So I'm in this visionary and I'm constantly thinking about, ooh, we can create this and we can create that. That's awesome. That's beautiful. I'm in the present moment seeing visions of possibilities. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. Why? Why is there nothing wrong with visioning beautiful things that might happen down the road? Very good, Linda. It draws us to us. Because if you cannot, you have to be, everybody here, I'd love to just stick ears on all of you. Right now. Mickey Mouse ears. You know what? Because you're Imagineers. You're all imagining something. And we're all imagining our lives into manifestation. Everything we imagine, so the conscious mind is looking for something to do, and then the subconscious mind identifies something and brings up either a sound, a vision, a memory, or a thought in some way. And then we go ding, and if we're doing something that is joyful and beautiful and we're visioning, I want to create this spirit, I want to create that spirit, I want to be able to do something so magnificent that it will be able to help so many people, and then we'll all be able to live even a better life. That is going to create out of itself, what it is. It's just like, how many people remember the old radios where you had to turn the knobs? Give yourselves away. Okay, so those of us that remember that, you remember that there were times we couldn't get the signal clear. There is no difference. Now when we are imagining, and we're imagining our good life, it starts first with the present moment, checking in the present moment and asking myself right this holy instant, am I okay right now? What's the answer? Yes. First step, I'm okay. If I then direct my thoughts to something beautiful, joyful, wonderful, something every time I have a vision, my very second or third question is, who can I serve? That's a big tip for you guys. When I co-created, I don't remember what the dollar was, but it was some $350,000 or something like that. And when I co-created the money, the whole, and it's a long story, I won't get into it here, but when it was going on, there was time going by. And in this time going by, every day I wrote in my book how grateful I am for what I am and for what I have right now and for who I am right now. The next thing I wrote was the intention I had of creating, and my intention was about $350,000, $400,000. You know what my third thing I wrote down was? Who I was going to help with the money. I had a neighbor who absolutely loathed me, didn't like me one bit, but her roof was falling apart on her home and she had no money and she had animals and she, wasn't very well. And so I wrote down, I'm putting a roof on this person's house. And I did it. She still didn't like me, but I did it. And then I wrote down, I had this couple, Barbara and Bert, and they were like in their late 80s, and one time they told me to come in. They lived out in the sticks, out in the mountains, way up in Placerville, way out in the mountains, and their son had died, and she wanted me to come do the service. And I drove forever down dirt roads, back into the backwoods. They were living in a train car. And they had their animals tied up to trees. When I finished the service, because I had just gotten the settlement, when I finished the service, I met with the husband and I said, what needs to be done for you to live a life without leakage in your house and for these animals to be humanely treated? And he said, I don't know where to begin. I said, well, would you give me permission to take care of it for you? He said, yeah. And I did. And here's the thing. I never saw them again. It's like $100,000 to get them all straightened out. I never saw them again. Do you know how cool that is? For me, it feels so good. Where's Doodah? It feels so good to be able to, and this is stuff, I'm going to be starting The Good Life. Look for that title. Once a month, I'm going to be giving after service a 2-hour spiritual psychology on how to live more of the good life, living a generous life, being more generous with our kindness. Rather than going, I'm really mad and I don't feel good, so I'm just going to be mad. Well, if I'm living a generous life, then I will put that on the back burner and I will go out and serve somebody. You know, you've heard a million times, the very thing you want, how you want to be treated. How do you want to be treated? With respect. How do you want to be treated? What do you want to be treated? How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be treated? With peace? Okay, however you all want to be treated, it's this simple. Treat others this way. Everywhere you go, the words you used, and most of you said love, means that you must learn to love people you don't know. It means that you will, when you're around people you don't know, you will light up. And you will say, is there anything I can do for you? And they'll be like, no. And you'll be like, okay, just checking. And you've fulfilled your duty. You're being loving. You're moving on. You're doing loving things. You're having loving ideas. You're calling somebody that you know is not doing well. And you're saying, hey, I just want you to know I'm here. I don't know if I can fix it for you, but I can certainly remind you that you are loved. Right? But you guys, this is not stuff I don't do. I do this stuff all the time. It is because I insist on living the good life. I don't want to live anything less. You know what? For those of you that are young, once you start getting in your 40s, this is a fact. The clock speeds up. And then when you're 50, it goes faster. And then it's true. When you're 60, it goes faster, and it goes faster, and it goes faster. And the thing is, it doesn't really, but the thing is, not really, I'm just kidding. The thing is it feels that way. It feels that way. I remember sitting on a hill with my best friend Eileen Tucker, and we were both sitting on a hill smoking Benson and Hedges Gold, being all mad at the world. You know, we're 14 or something, being all mad. And I had my dog up there on the hill, and we were just sitting there, and we were like, what year is it going to be when we're 50? And we sat there doing the math. Oh my God, it's going to be 2000. And we got the number. I remember at the moment what year I turned 50. I can't remember now what it was. Somewhere around there. And then the day that I turned 50, the first thought that I had was Eileen. I haven't seen her. She's a professional water soccer player. She's a crazy girl. I haven't seen her in a long time. But I thought, oh my God, we were just sitting on a hill doing something disgusting and talking about how we were going to be 50. Isn't it wild how fast life goes? You know, we know where we feel this in like so concentrated, we feel this like so much. How many people here are animal lovers? Yes. Okay, so have you noticed that animals, that God like did this really terrible thing? It's like, really, God? Dogs don't live that long. They lived, if we're lucky, they lived to be 14, maybe 15, and very few live that long. And yet, it is the most heartbreaking, painful thing for us to lose our furry companions. But you see, the reason I think that we are blessed with dogs, our dogs are here to remind us every minute, clock's ticking. Are you living the good life? Because I am. Give me the ball, let's go out, I'm going to go swimming, I'm going to eat, let's go over here, I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to chew up your shoe. Because I'm living the good life. True or true? They're trying to teach us something that life does not last that long. At least not in these bodies. So what we must do is be precious. Hold the people in our lives precious. Really understand that every moment is a gift. That every relationship we have is a divine connection. Oh yeah, there's stuff up here. I forgot. Okay, I already did it. Deep connection with others. Who of you has a deep connection with more than one person? I bet you have lots of friends. Right? Deep connections. Now, who of us has had deep connections and can't figure out what happened to them? Yeah. I'm asking you guys today, we are an academy that is focused primarily on the principles of kindness. We are far more about being kind and compassionate to one another than we are what we think rules and regulations and laws and religion. No disrespect to any of that. I have great respect for any and all religions. But here's the thing. I have a degree in religious studies, which means that I have studied many, many, many religions. And you know what they all have in common? Every one of them? What? Light and? Love. That's where I go, oh, there's my religion right there. So I am all religions. Because light and love is what we are here to give and to be and to deepen our connections. Because so many, as you know, our son served 3 or 4 tours of duty. And how many of you had kids that went off to service like we did? Just 1 or 2 of you, wow. And you know how that feels to have your son in some foreign country with guns on. It was, I barely breathed for years because I kept, live in the present moment, live in the present moment, live in the present moment. And you know what? He came home. He came home. And you know, it's really interesting. And this is so, for me, it's so much about us having a conversation together and really being real with one another. He came home only to find out that his first child is diagnosed with a very serious disease. And now she has to go to Stanford and have a bone marrow transplant. The guy goes through 4 tours. He makes it home. And he's a medic, and he's going into that field. Thank you, God. He's going into that field. And now our little 3-year-old, who is the most amazing, I was with her all day yesterday, this little 3-year-old who just walks around loving life, no idea what she's going through, because you know why? Guess where she lives? She lives in the present moment. And when she sees mommy or daddy or grandma, I'm Mimi, or Grandma Karen cry, she always says, Grandma, don't cry, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. You know where that comes from. Keep swimming. Dory, Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. This is a 3-year-old. She should be up here giving the service. The thing is, she would say, okay, who wants to sit here and play? That's what she would say. What about you guys? Where are you going to play? Where's your playground? Is your playground going to be everything in your life, everywhere you go? Are you going to work on being more kind and more loving and more grateful for every moment of our life? Because this clock is speeding up. And if we are able to be kinder and more loving, something beautiful happens. The relationships we have actually slow down. We're able to go deeper with one another. We're able to get more real with one another. Living the good life is recognizing where in my life am I making it about me rather than about us. Not that we're not important, we are. But if we're not sharing what is important, then what's the point? It's not so important anymore, except to just us. One of the ways to finding a good life, and it's very important, and we're going to be, once a month, we're going to be doing the coolest processes, you guys. We're going to be making these amazing things that you keep that will remind you a year from now, and you'll be able to see a year from now how far you've come. I'm a scientist, so I like to test things. And so in my monthly group that we get together in the Good Life, we're going to actually hide some things for a while, get them out a year later and take a look, and you guys are going to be blown away. When you focus and I focus on wisdom, the wisdom that says there is more going on than I know. You know that the Course in Miracles says, do you want to be right or happy? Which is it?
Happy.
Happy. Whenever somebody goes, well, can I be both? I go, yeah, sure, have at it. Because it's not about being right at all, because none of it matters. It is all an illusion, the Course says. Everything is temporary. True or true? Hallelujah! You knew you were going to do that. He told me to do that. It's just the thing, is that everything is temporary, and the only thing that is not temporary is you and me are infinite in the essence of who we are. We are infinite, and I believe that all of us have been together before, and we're together now because we've been called in this moment to hear something to awaken in ourselves more kindness and more compassion. And you know, Mother Teresa says there's going to be people that are going to go, oh, please, I don't want your kindness and compassion. And what will you do? Love them anyway. And without sarcasm, too. My 16-year-old daughter, she's not 16 anymore, but when she was 16, and I asked that question, she said, I'll love them, but I'll be really sarcastic about it. It's like, no! 16. The point is that living a good life is doing things like this, you guys. Coming together with a group of people that you may not know that well and getting to know each other. Don't you know that the greatest way for people to live a good life is to have great friendships, great community. And when there's a spiritual community, and specifically a spiritual community, you've got your family community, you've got all your other communities, we're coming right up, all your other communities, but when you have a spiritual community that hopefully includes your family and friends, and if it doesn't, that's fine, but when you have one, you can come to a place like this, and you can come to someone like me, or Reverend Karen, or Reverend Patricia, or any of those guys back there, Rhonda, or any of these guys, Chio or Gary, and you can say to Reverend Amy, to any of us, you can walk up to us and say, I'm hurting. I don't feel like being loving and kind today. And this community will circle the wagons. And every time one of our people has had a serious problem, we have circled the wagons. Whether it was health, whether it was financial, whether it was relationship, or whether it was some form of crisis in career or purpose. What am I here for? We circle the wagons. Most of the people that come on Sunday are in class on Wednesday. Why? Because wisdom, making genuine growth and gaining real insight with a group of other people that aren't going to agree with everything, and I love that aren't going to agree with everything, so that we can have a discussion about it and get some tools and ideas and ways to deal with difficult things. Who in this room is struggling with something? Isn't it easier if we're all together helping one another get through it? True, true. I mean, for me, when I got so sick, knowing that I had worldwide healing going on for me, changed everything. And then I had my own community here, taking care, bringing food, taking care. We are not interested in being a church. We love churches. There are so many great churches. I got lots of churches for you. They're wonderful. They're beautiful. We're surrounded with them. We are focusing a little bit more on behavior. A little bit more on the joy end of it, and living in that joy and living a generous life in a way that makes a significant difference in others. And I'm not saying churches don't. I'm saying I love them. I speak at churches. I love churches. We're just not the same. We're just a little different. Where we come together and say, Let's be real with one another and talk about what's going on rather than just praise worship. Praise worship is wonderful. It's very fun. It's very, very inspiring. But you feel me where I'm going? It's just in here you see what we just did. We just had a conversation with one another where we ask questions to each other, where we connect with one another, where we're with each other. There's no hierarchy here. We're just here. We meditate together. We go to retreats together. We come to class Wednesday night, you guys. Come to class. That's where we become so tight and so close. Come to the retreats. Come to the stuff we do or don't. If you don't want to come here, find some place and go there. Find a community that will circle the wagons when you are in need. And you have my word that we will. We will do our very best to support you in the best ways that we can, okay? So living a good life. It's one of the things you guys are going to focus on. I am too, with you. What are we all going to focus on this week to bring up the vibration of living a good life? What are we going to do? Being in the present moment. A+. Present moment is the most important thing of all. Because in the present moment, we're actually clear. We're not there or there. What's the other thing? We're actually, the problem I have with any religious institution is people go on Sunday, they walk out the door, and they flip off somebody on the road. And I'm like, come on! We've got to behave. And if we behave, good things happen. We can have fun while we behave. I used to be a little rebellious kid. I have fun and I behave now. Right? What's the other thing we're going to do this week? Kindness. Seek wisdom. What might some of you do this week? Come to Wednesday class. You can always leave if you don't like it. None of us take it personally because we practice the 4 agreements. If you don't like it, leave. If you like it, stay long enough. Course in Miracles says, don't quit before the miracle arrives. So many people go to religious institutions, they listen to the Word of God, they get all inspired, some amazing minister blows them away, they go right out their door and they go right back to their old behaviors. True or true? I'm watching. I'm practicing with you guys. I teach that which I most need to know. Will you help me? Will you all walk with me? Right next to me. Let's work together. Let's make a kinder. It's one thing to say, let's make a better universe. Well, that's pretty big. That's a big deal. But could we be more loving and kind just to our immediate people and start there? And then the ripple effect goes out. Then can we be kinder and more loving when we're in grocery stores? Can we look up from the floor? And can we have eye contact with the checker? And can we notice if he or she is having a good day? Can we go into any place of business and smile? And say something kind to somebody? What a beautiful story you have here. They say, well, I don't own it. And I said, I don't care. You get to sit in a beautiful store. You must be a beautiful person. Oh, well, I don't know. I love it. I love it. It's being sweet. It's practicing that every religion teaches kindness and sweetness. Where's my kids? Where's my kids? Speaking of kindness and sweetness. We're going to have a beautiful little song with our kids, and you're welcome to join us.